first grade. It's Thursday. We almost made it to Friday. And I know you guys are working hard and trying your best and showing your teachers all your work. So today we are going to be practicing our sounds and our words in our composition book. So make sure that you have your composition book and a pencil ready with a good eraser. So first of all, we're always going to start off with echoing our sounds, and we're always going to do the vowels first. So please repeat after me. And the reason that you need to echo them is that when you say them, it helps you to remember that sound. So please echo with little echo. A, apple, a. A, safe, a. E, ed, e. E, peat, e. I, itch, I. I, pine, I. O, octopus, ah. O, home, o. U, up, up. U, mule, you. U, rule, oo. Okay, and now for the vowel teams, I was able to find a poster just like our poster. So this will help us a little bit with a visual also, and then repeating it for our vowel teams. And we know that our vowel teams are two letters that do what? They work together as a team to make a sound, and they all have a vowel. Okay, so I'm going to choose about 5 or 6 of them again. So let's do A, I, bait, A. E, E, jeep, E. And let's do one with 2 sounds. Let's do O-W, snow, O. And O-W, plow, ow. And let's do another one with 2 sounds. Let's do O-U, soup, oo. And O-U, trout, ow. And one more, let's do E-W, chew, oo. All right, great job. So now it is time for our composition book. So make sure you get your composition book ready. Find your next empty page. And I want you to write the date at the top. Okay, so if you can see my calendar behind me, we are in April, right? We've been in April for about a week. And so we are going to find Thursday. Yeah, last week was the 2nd, so this Thursday is going to be April 9th. So we are going to write the date at the top, and since April is our 4th month, right? January, February, March, April, we're going to put a 4, and then we're going to put the day, which we said is the 9th, and then for our year, we just write 20, for 2020. Okay, so make sure you put your date at the top. So now just like last time, I'm going to give you 3 sounds. I want you to write the sounds, and then we will check them to see how you did. Okay, so the first sound I want you to do is onk. Right beside number 1, write what says onk. Okay, number 2, I want you to write what says I. What says the sound I? And number 3, write what says k. What says k? Now at any time, like always, if this is too fast for you and I'm going too far ahead and you're getting behind, it's okay. Pause the video and come back, okay? So let's check it out and see how you did. For number 1, I asked what says onk. And O-N-K says onk, like O-N-K, honk, onk. Okay. And number 2, I asked what says I. That's a little bit tricky because some boys and girls might think it's the word with the capital I, but that's the word, not the sound. The sound I is I consonant E, like an I, pine, I. So you should have written that, not the word I. And then the last one, I asked you what says k. that's also kind of tricky because you have to write all the three sounds that say k. And we have like C cat k, and we have like K kite k, and then we have our digraph CK sock k. So you have to write all three because they all say k. Okay, now let's go to our words. So I'm going to do some spelling words that we've been working on all week. Now let's see if you can spell them and then find everything there is to mark them, and then we'll come back and we'll check them. Okay, so for number 1 on the next part, I want you to write the word call. So let's tap that. Ready? Tap with me. All, call. Write and mark call. Pause the video if you need to. Number 2, I want you to write the word ended, like she ended the video. So first we're going to tap the base word end. So I hear n, da, ended. So I want you to write ended and see if you can mark it. Pause the video and come back and we'll check both of those words. Okay, number 1, I asked you to write the word call. So I hear k, which is almost always a C at the beginning. And then we hear our glued sound all, A-L-L. Remember, that's not an O. It sounds like it, but it's not. And the next one, we said ended. So in my base word, I hear d, which is probably something you see a lot because at the end of a story, a lot of times it says the end, right? And then we're going to put our suffix ed, and in that word it says ed, ended, because you know suffix ed can say t or d or ed. All right, now let's go back and mark them. Okay, so call has a bonus letter. This does not get a brief because it doesn't say ah. It's not ka-ahl, right? It's call, so it doesn't get a brief, but it does get a box because it's a glued sound. And then it is a closed syllable word, one vowel, and the door is closed. And now let's look at ended. In my base word, I see a blend, and then I'm going to give the E a brief because it says eh. Then we circle suffix ed, and our base word, like I said, is end, and that would be a closed syllable word. Doesn't matter if there's nothing in front of the vowel. Remember, it only matters if the door is closed on the back of the vowel to be a closed syllable word. Okay, let's go to the next line for number 1, and let's do the word next. So let's tap next. Next. So you pause the video, write and mark the word next. And for number 2, I want you to do the word planes, which we did yesterday. So I want to see if you can remember how to mark it. So let's tap the base word. P-L-A-N, plain, planes. So pause the video and write and mark planes, and then we'll come back and check them. Okay, let's look at number 1. You were going to write the word next. So I hear n, I hear then I hear x. Sounds like there's an S there, but there's not because X says x. And so then I hear t, next. Okay, so then number 2, I said let's write planes. And if you remember from yesterday, we have a blend, pull. Then I hear A. Then I hear n, and I know because this says A, that I'm going to need an E right here to make the A say the long sound. And then it's more than one because it's suffix S, so we have planes. Okay, now let's see how you did with marking them. Okay, I look at next, and XT is actually a blend because it says xt. It's kind of a funny blend, isn't it? I think that's a funny one. Just like my boys and girls know, I think one of the really funny blends is pt, like slept. So XT is a funny blend, and it gets a breve, and it's a closed syllable word. Okay, now let's look at plains. We said that it has a blend, pull, so it gets two little lines. The A says its name, so it gets a straight line, a macron. And we're going to slash the E because it's silent. We don't hear the E in that word. And then we are going to circle suffix S, and the base word is plain, and that is not a closed syllable word. I see two vowels in that word. So that's a vowel consonant E word. That's a lot to mark on that word. Remember, don't be tricked because you see an ES right there. We talked about yesterday, that is not suffix ES. It's just suffix S. Did you remember that one? Okay, so let's go to the next line, and we're going to do our two trick words. So the first word I want you to write for number 1 is called. And then for number 2, you're going to write water. So pause the video and then come back and let's see if you spelled called and water correctly. Okay, let's go back to number 1. Called is really just this word with our suffix ed. So I hear call, and then we put ed. Now, what sound does ed make in that word? Do we say ed like an ended? Do we say called? No, that sounds weird, doesn't it? We went and say I called my friend. Okay, does it say t, called, called? No. Does it say duh? Let's say it together. Called. Yeah, ed says duh. So really that word is not so tricky if you just remember how to spell call and then ed for we already did it. We don't mark the trick words. Sometimes the kids like to circle them, and that's okay. If you want to circle it, that's fine, but it doesn't get anything else in that word because it is considered a trick word. We're not going to mark it like we did the word call. And then for number 2, I said water. And remember I told you we can kind of sound that out. If we remember that that ah sound is actually an A, right? Then I hear a t, even though sometimes whenever we say water, we don't really say t, we say water. But I've been saying t so that you know there's not a D there, even though it kind of sounds that way when we say it. And then we said, it's like our controlled vowel sound, So almost both of these you can sort of sound out because you guys have learned so many different rules now that even the trick words are kind of not so tricky if you can just remember some of those clues to help you out to remember how to spell them. So now I'm going to give you a sentence, and then you're going to write the sentence and mark it, and then we're going to come back and check it. Okay, so your sentence today is, Dad called us back home. So let's count those words and say it with me. Dad called us back home. So you should have 5 words in that sentence. So whenever you write the sentence, what comes at the beginning? Capital letter. What comes at the end? Punctuation, question mark, exclamation point, or period, depending on what kind of sentence it is. And how many finger spaces? Just 1. So I want you to pause the video and write, Dad called us back home. And then we're going to come back and see how you did. Try to find everything you can to mark it. Okay, so let's see how you did with your sentence. So we have the word dad, and I think we probably know how to spell dad because you probably have written your dad for your own dad, right? So it's just D-A-D. Did you check your D? Make sure it's not a B. That would say dab. We're not talking about dab. We're talking about dad, right? So called is your trick word. So all you really had to do was look up here if you didn't remember how to spell it, but I hope that you did because we've been practicing it long enough that you should know that it's called. Let's spell it together. C-A-L-L-E-D, called. And Dad called us. Us is easy, right? We can sound that out. Us. Then we have back. I'm going to go to the next line because I'm not going to try to squeeze that in. I've got plenty of room here. So I hear ba. Make sure that's a B. It's not dak. It's back. Then I hear a. And I know because that says it's going to need digraph CK. Back. And then home, if I tap that, I hear O, home. So I hear a long O sound. So that tells me that's going to be an O consonant E word. So we have O, and then I know I'm going to need my sneaky superhero silent E at the end that makes that O say its name. Now, what did you put at the end of yours? I hope that you put a period. Again, just like yesterday's sentence, this was just a statement. Okay? So now let's see if you found everything there is to mark it. Okay, so dad is not a trick word. We can sound it out, dad. So the A gets a breathe and it's a closed syllable word. Okay? We said that called is our trick word. So we'll always circle our trick words. Us is not because I can sound it out. Us. So the U says it gets a breathe and it's a closed syllable word. Back is also one we can sound out. So it has digraph CK. The A says so it gets a breathe and it's a closed syllable word. And then the last one, just like what we talked about a second ago, it's a vowel consonant E word. So the O gets a macron and the E gets a slash. And then, like we said, it's vowel consonant E. How'd you do on all that? Okay. Nice job. So I want you to make sure that you practice your spelling words, just like we always do on a Thursday. If you had any of those that you missed, or any of the words that are just kind of a little bit tricky for you, make sure you especially practice those. And then you're going to take a spelling test in Spellin' City. And since we can't see your test, I want you to show it to a parent or your brother and sister who's older maybe. If you have an older brother and sister, show it to somebody and let them know how you did. Okay? And so I will see you back tomorrow. Bye.